Hello, Bruce Naylor here, the Frugal Tech, and today's question comes from Kevin Bragdon, who writes, I never owned an Apple product, but was intrigued by the 8GB Mac Mini. How come you don't like it? And he left that comment in my video about the arrogance that is Apple these days. So I thought I would take time to answer this question. Now, I've owned a Mac Mini before, and this was a long time ago. I'm thinking around 2009, in that time frame. Hell of a reliable little machine. Now, the Mac Mini is a machine introduced in 2005 for switchers. That was the idea, for people to that were curious about Mac. They wanted that experience, but they didn't want to invest a lot of money in it, and so Apple came out with the Mac Mini. You see, one of the things that Apple has needed for a long time was a desktop machine that was affordable, upgradable, and where people could use some of the own gear that they have, including display. If you didn't want an iMac, then you had a choice other than the Mac Pro, and that was kind of a gaping hole in the product line. So here comes the Mac Mini, and over time it became quite a workhorse little machine. Now, in my particular case, and this was, I think, starting around 2013, at the end of 2013, my 2009 Mac Pro was getting a bit long in the tooth, so to speak. Uses a lot of power, generates a lot of heat, and just felt like it was getting slower and slower and slower, running, more modern applications. And I was starting to get into video editing as well. So I was really looking for a workhorse machine. But I ruled out the new Mac Pro that was introduced at the end of, 2013. You got the $3,000 entry model. I think most people go after the $4,000 6-core machine, way out of my budget and way out of a lot of other people's budgets as well. But they had a model of the Mac Mini introduced late 2012 for I think around $800. It shipped with a quad-core i7, 4 terabytes of memory, USB 3 Thunderbolt, I think a 1 terabyte 5400 RPM drive. Very capable machine. Here's what I liked about it, that it was upgradable. You could upgrade the memory yourself to 16 gigabytes. You could replace the hard drive yourself. You could actually, if you knew what you were doing, you could open a Mac Mini, take out the old hard drive and put in a new one. So you could do this and save yourself a lot of cash and have a nice workhorse computer. Now, mind you, the graphics wasn't that great, but a lot of people don't use Macs for gaming anyway. But for video editing, see, this is what I wanted to use it for. It was going to be a perfect machine. But instead, as I waited for the introduction of a new Mac Mini, at the end of 2014, what we ended up with was a stripped-down Mac Mini. And now the entry model ships with a 1.4 gigahertz processor, dual-core i5 processor, 8 gigs of memory, a 5400 RPM hard drive, and the memory is soldered to the motherboard. This machine is not upgradable. It's just not. And that's the conundrum, because of this need in the market for an affordable desktop machine, if you didn't want an iMac, an all-in-one, there was nothing there. This was the Mac Mini. And I think Apple realized that people were starting to do serious work on the Mac Mini with that quad-core i7, and they were upgrading the hard drives, they were upgrading the RAM themselves, and maybe that was affecting their iMac sales. I would imagine it might have. If they would have come out with a better version, a new version of the Mac Mini with a quad-core i7, with an SSD, I would have went for that. You see, Apple charges like $200 to go from 8 gigs of memory to 16 gigabytes of memory. So if they would have gave me a quad i7 and upgradable memory, I would not have a MacBook Pro today. I wouldn't. I would have had that Mac Mini, which would have been perfectly fine for what I'm using my Mac for, which is video editing. Now, in Kevin's case, he's looking at the $700 base model Mac Mini. Kevin, all I can say to you is this is a throwaway machine. There's no upgradability to it. If it doesn't do the things that you want to do for the next 3 to 5 years, save your cash, maybe go with an iMac, even though I'm not a big fan of the iMac either. I know people go, Bruce, what Macs do you like? And essentially, I like the MacBook Pro and the Mac Pro, but I can't afford one. I guess I could, but to me it would be a ridiculous waste of money. Those are my two favorite Macs right there. I'm not a big fan of all-in-one. If you're going to get an all-in-one, right, just get a laptop. That's an all-in-one technically, right? Screen, built-in, keyboard, trackpad. There you go. That is my opinion. I'm not a big fan of the new Mac Mini because this shows Apple took away the ability to upgrade the Mac Mini and keep people from using it as that workhorse machine that the older model did. That's my problem with the Mac Mini. That's why I think Apple showed its real self in this machine. It's kind of a form of arrogance. Maybe not. Maybe I'm mistaking the arrogance for a business practicality, because I think there were a number of people that chose Mac Mini over the iMac and maybe even potentially the Mac Pro. That is why I'm not a big fan of the Mac Mini. I think for all practical purposes, the Mac Mini has been relegated to the wasteland of former products. It's there, but I don't think they're really selling very many of them anymore. So that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one.